All right, everyone, hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on. Sports Hounds are going live on A2D Radio right now.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like, oh, this game he stink!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
All right, everyone, it's Monday night. Sports Hounds are live, exclusively on A2DRadio.com. I'm Rob Brinkman. He's Brad Ryer. Frank Vesby's producing the show. Make sure you hit that like. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you turn those notifications on so you don't miss a damn thing here on A2D Radio. We're live today on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Periscope. And again, if you miss anything here on A2D Radio, go ahead and download us wherever you get your favorite podcasts. We're on them all. Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Takeover Talk. We're absolutely everywhere. No reason to miss anything here on A2D Radio. We got a jam-packed show tonight. We'll tell you about it. We're going to tell you about our great sponsors here at A2D Radio. Don't fight your homeowner's insurance alone. Contact ARIA Public Adjusting at 813-564-3364. Again, don't fight your homeowner's insurance alone. ARIA Public Adjusters here to help you out. Tell them the Sports Sound sent you. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. They'll help you out. Also brought to you by Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, 2 convenient locations in Burlington and Cherry Hill. He's our doc here at A2D Radio. Make him yours too. All right, we got a huge show tonight. A lot going on. We had crazy March Madness. We're going to dive into NFL free agency. We had a bonkers trade deadline in the NHL today. If you're living under a rock and don't know, if you're here in the Philadelphia area, Captain Claude Giroux plays 1,000 times, and he shipped off to Florida. Brad, that's probably the biggest name that got moved today. No?
Well, he got moved the other day, but he's without question the biggest name that got moved. And I think the Flyers got a reasonable haul. I would have liked to have seen them get a 23 first round draft choice instead of a 24 first round draft choice, but I think they did okay with that. It's time for them to move on from him. I mean, at this point, it's not a complete rebuild for the Flyers. It's more of a retool. They've got some decent veterans, and you hope that they stay healthy next year. And they pick some good guys in the draft, and some of these guys come along and make the team next year. That's what really needs to start happening for them.
I'm rooting for it. So we got March Madness. We got a lot of movement in the NFL. One, Deshaun Watson going from Houston to Cleveland. A record-setting contract.
Matt Ryan getting traded to the Colts.
Matt Ryan is on the Colts. Marcus Mariota goes from the Raiders to the Falcons. Looks like he's going to get another shot. So we're going to dive into a lot of these moves. We've been distracted with March Madness and some other stuff, but it's time to kind of digest some of these NFL moves because I don't remember an NFL offseason where so many Pro Bowlers, so many All-Pro guys got traded, and we're nowhere close to being done. I have a list open on my computer that we're going to talk about. There's still top-tier difference-making names available on the market for your Giants, for my Eagles, for anyone out there who's still looking to make improvements. And obviously we're barreling towards the NFL draft as well.
Rob,
your Giants have 2 picks. 1st. My Eagles have 3 picks. So
don't forget June 1st.
June 1st.
June 1st is when a lot of these roster bonuses are due. And teams cut a lot of guys right around June 1st. So there's going to be even more movement right around the beginning of June.
It's a good point. It's kind of become like a second wave of free agency.
Yeah, and they do that because they can create a lot more cap room.
So, we got Eagles moves. We got Deshaun Watson being traded. Devontae Adams, the best receiver in the NFL. He's been traded. a lot going on. But
$28 million though, Rob, for him.
I mean, you can't say he hasn't earned it.
I no, I understand that, but shouldn't that money go? Well, I guess they're already paying their quarterbacks, so. But still, that's a big. That's
the problem. The advantageous position, the rate. Not that it's advantageous, but the Raiders' new GM doesn't have to worry about giving big time extensions to any of their draft picks because they're all in jail. So they can go. They can go out and do this, and like now you have Carr, you have Waller, you have Jacobs, you have Devontae Adams, Renfro. Like this is an offense.
Oh yeah,
that division loaded up. By the way,
how good is that division? I mean, boy, oh boy,
gonna be crazy.
Thank God the East doesn't have to play that division this year.
Yeah, we played it last year. Thank God.
Oh yeah, I know, but they're even better this year.
Yeah, so we don't have to see it again for another 3 years.
Yeah, because that division that division right now has 4 teams that might finish first in the NFC East. Thank God we don't have to deal with them at all. There's somebody else's problem.
Yeah, our main topic tonight, our poll question tonight, we're diving in to the MLB, looking to buy or sell a home, looking for a change or career in brokerage. Contact Alan Foy, eXp Realty, 302-682-8820. Visit them, Alan Foy at exprealty.com. Our poll question tonight, we're going hard MLB tonight. The Phillies are getting a lot of praise here in Philadelphia. Dave Dombrowski, John Middleton, they go over the luxury tax, about $8 to $10 million over, depending on where you look. They get Schwarber, they get Nick Castellanos. They signed Corey Knebel before the lockout to lock down ball games for them in the 9th. Their posted win total in Las Vegas is 84.5. So our poll question tonight, the Phillies will win over 84.5 games. Agree or disagree? I want to get your perspective because you're not a Philly guy. You're a New York guy. And you always tell the truth. Nothing but the truth, so help you God. So I'm interested to see what you think over on these significant impact signings that the Phillies have made and where you think they stack in the National League.
Okay. The thing is here, they picked up 2 outstanding offensive players in Schwarber and Castellanos. They're going to add to your offense. You're gonna score a lot of runs with these guys. Castellanos is a professional hitter. He makes contact. He gets singles and doubles as well as home runs. He's just a real tough out. He's the kind of guy when you have runners on base, he's the last guy you want to end up pitching to because he's going to make contact and he's a patient hitter. He's going to make you throw a lot of pitches. That's the kind of guy you want hitting. Because he's going to hit for a very high average. He had 309 last year. I don't think he's going to hit as many home runs in Philly as he did in Cincinnati, because let's be honest, Cincinnati that ballpark is really small to say the least. So maybe not as many home runs, but I think the Phillies hit enough home runs. I don't think that's ever really been a problem. I think they just needed a couple of clutch hitters, and in Castellanos they got one, and of course Schwarber can change a game in an instant. I mean, he's just a 3-run home run waiting to happen. So you got to love having him on the team. I'm not sure about Knebel. He can never seem to stay healthy. That seems to be a problem with him. When his one really healthy season, I think he had 39 saves, something like that in Milwaukee.
He's had a good season. I'm going to bring his stats up right now.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I think he had 39 saves in, 17 or 18 with Milwaukee.
He made the All-Star team.
Yeah, he's been hurt a lot ever since then. He hasn't really been able to pitch a full season. He didn't pitch a lot of innings last year either. But if he's healthy, he can definitely be your closer. I'm not thrilled if I'm a Philly fan about Jerus Familia or Brad Hand. They're terrible. I mean, if they were any good, the Mets would have kept them.
And I think this baseball team is going to miss Hector Neris. I know everyone in the chat and everybody listening is going to be like, Brink, what are you talking about? Hector Neris blew. He stunk, which I agree with when he was a closer.
As a closer, but you put him in the 8th inning, it's a different role.
But he excelled with his elite split finger in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning. Those high leverage kind of set up situations. Hector Neris was pretty good. So
He was. I'm not really understanding what makes anybody think Jerus Familia, who I mean, it's
no,
unbelievable.
he's
You
a
talk to Met
disaster.
fans. You talk to Met fans how much they hated that guy. They just said, you bringing him in, you can't bring him in with runners on base because all he does is walk guys, and to start the inning, he's always going to give up a home run. They hated him, and to be honest with you, I can understand what limited Met games I watched last year. He was always getting himself into trouble, and he wasn't the kind of guy that could get himself in and out of trouble. He was not good. Brad Hand, inexplicably, the last 2 years has gone south. So, I mean, unless maybe they're expecting a bounce back year, or if he had an undiagnosed injury that nobody knew about and they think he can make a comeback, okay. If that's the case, that's great. I'm not a fan of either one of those guys right now. Knievel, I can understand. I can understand they're wanting to get him. He may actually be the answer as a closer. It might be a problem getting to him. I'm not crazy about your pitching after Wheeler. I don't know if he can have a year like that again this year either. That's going to be tough because he had a great year last year. But let's assume that he's very close to last year. Yeah, you have a legitimate ace. As far as Nola's concerned, he's up and down, but he's a number two. And you know what? Look, nobody other than maybe the Mets in that division, nobody has that great a pitching staff right now. So the Phillies are going to bash their way in. That's the way that team is going to win games this year. They've got enough offense. They're dangerous enough and deep enough. And the way they work the counts, they're going to get most of these starting pitchers out of the game by the 5th or 6th inning. And they're going to have to face 3 innings of bullpen pitchers. And to be honest with you, most teams do not have very good bullpens. So you're going to be facing lesser pitching almost every time you're out there in the late innings, because your team is going to absolutely have pitchers get knocked out by the 5th inning.
So 84.5 is the posted total, Brad. Do you like
I'm
that?
I'm going to go a little bit more optimistic than that. I think just if you look at the WAR with the 3 guys that I liked that they picked up, okay, that'd be Castellanos, Schwarber, and Knievel. The WAR between those 3 is probably about 7, 8, I would think. So he had 7 games to the 81 last year. That's 88. So it sounds like to me a good analytic to go with. And I'm going to say 88. And I think if you bet the over, you're going to win.
2017 was Corey Knebel's breakout year for the Brewers. 39 saves. He made the All-Star team. He was tremendous. The one X factor in the Phillies bullpen that I'm looking for to step up and be that bridge to Knebel, that's Sir Anthony Dominguez. Sir Anthony Dominguez was really good 2 years ago. He had a dreaded UCL tear. He's coming back. He looks good. He's got good stuff. So maybe he can step up and be a bridge to Knebel. He's the clear-cut closer. Jose Alvarado is still on this team.
He shows signs, and he could be the guy that has a big year. Somebody in the bullpen has to step up and give
Connor Brogdon, Coonrad, but personally, like Brad Hand is old. Like that's Brad Hand. Like,
yeah, he's not that good anymore. He was really good in San Diego, but ever since he got traded to Cleveland,
he's not really that old. He's 31, but plagued by injuries. Look, if he has some type of bounce back year, this is.
Well, 31 is not that old.
Looking half bad. I wish Neris was still in it, and I know that sounds weird to say, but I do. I think that's going to be a big loss.
He was in the
this
wrong
team.
spot. That's all. They had him. They had him in the wrong. They had him in the wrong area. Of the bullpen. He would have been a lot better as the 8th inning pitcher.
But I mean, I like this team. I do. I think it's going to be a very entertaining spring and summer, and hopefully deep into fall.
I think they're going to be in the playoffs. I think the Braves are still going to win the division. They're going to have Acuna back in the middle of May. They're saying, So I think they're gonna end up winning the division. I do think the Mets and the Phillies are both going to get in, and basically because of this situation out in San Diego, where Tatis got hurt again, I have to go with the Giants as the third team to be in the playoffs. So I think it's there. The Phillies, that playoff spot is theirs to get. There's no reason at this point why they can't get in the playoffs. And as we always say, especially in baseball, you make the tournament. You never know in baseball. Baseball is a weird sport.
And there's a whole new playoff format. But, I mean, you're boxed in. You got to step up, and you got to make the playoffs this year because you have me and everyone here at A2D Radio and all the fans out there and everyone in the newspaper and on talk radio bitching and moaning at John Middleton to go over the luxury tax. He gave in. They claimed they saw an opportunity in the Castellanos, and they went over the luxury tax. So if he goes over the luxury tax and they still don't win, they still don't make the playoffs. 11 years it's been, Brad, since the Phillies have been in the playoffs. That's the second longest drought in the major leagues. You got teams like the Orioles that have been in the playoffs more recently than the Phillies, the Pirates, the Royals, the Rockies, just the dreck of the league. And this is a top 5 market. So John Middleton is sitting back.
I think this year they should be able to get there.
Middleton is sitting back, Brad. Middleton is sitting back, Brad, smoking one of his cigars, saying, okay, no playoffs in 11 years. You want me to go over the luxury tax, pay my money to get my team to the playoffs? I've done my job. So if they don't do it this year, this team under John Middleton will never go over the luxury tax again. And I can't really argue with that. Phillies are going to have a lot of money coming off the books going into next season, about 70, 75 million. So, if you want this team to continue to play above the luxury tax threshold, you need to have this team be in the playoffs this year. Period. End of story. There is no choice. There's no excuses for Joe Girardi.
I think Joe Girardi is going to be under a lot of pressure this year. They got to make the playoffs this year. I mean, come on. Who you figure in the NL Central, the only decent team now is St. Louis. The Reds gave up have lost too many players. The Cubs stink. The Pirates, forget about them. And at this point, there's really nobody to challenge them now. The Brewers. Okay, I forgot about the Brewers. The Brewers might challenge, but you know what? The Mets, the Braves, and the Phillies are all better than the Brewers, in my opinion. The Brewers really don't have enough hitting. Unless Christian Yelich suddenly becomes a 50 home run hitter again, the Brewers are not going to have enough hitting to get anywhere.
Look, my only concern with this Phillies team, if the Phillies don't make the playoffs, and first off, you're spot on about Joe Girardi. He has a tremendous amount of pressure on him this season because if they're scuffling in late May, early June, mid-June, or as the All-Star game approaches, I think we might see a change in season. Look, Middleton's not going to put up with nonsense.
No. The only way Girardi could get away with that is if half the team gets hurt. Then he has an excuse. But you know what? If they stay healthy and they can't get into the playoffs at this point, I mean, they have enough offense now. There's no even with their lack of pitching, how many teams really have that good a pitching staff now?
Nobody has a good bullpen.
No.
And I mean, the Braves grab Kenley Jansen to add to their, embarrassment of riches down there in Atlanta. The Mets don't have a good bullpen. Like, nobody has a good bullpen. The Dodgers have questions in the bullpen. The Padres have questions.
The Dodgers bullpen is going to, unless they do something to rectify that situation, they're going to end up being disappointed with even with the $280 million payroll that they have. So that situation is not going to go away for them unless they pick up somebody. The Mets have a closer. That they have. The Mets bullpen, other than their closer, really isn't very good either. I mean, Diaz is good. He had a very good year last year, but he can't pitch every day, and he can't pitch 2-3 innings every day either.
I mean, I think the Mets have a lot more question marks than People are looking at DeGrom and Scherzer at the top, and that's all well and good. And then you bring in Conhan, Eduardo Escobar, you have Lindor, Pete Alonso. I feel
You
like
also
I'm
brought
missing
in Bassett too. You forgot about him.
Bassett. I feel like I'm missing a big bat for them as well. But it's not a perfect team.
Their center fielder they got from Miami.
Oh, Marte, yes, of course,
Yeah,
that's a great sign.
yeah.
I wanted the Phillies.
They've got a very good team. The Mets. I don't understand how they couldn't possibly make the playoffs when you have Scherzer and DeGrom and Bassett at the top of your rotation.
Well, this is the Mets. This is the Mets, Brad, and we've
Yeah,
seen this
no,
with
I
the
know.
Mets
I
before.
agree. Blue City Empire Sports says what about the Yankees? So I'm
Hold on,
going
let me get to some
them.
comments, and we'll shift.
I promise I will get to the Yankees because I'm a Yankee fan, and I will get to them. We're just right now we're on the National Leagues, but
Joe Gronkowski, Memphis blew it. They were so close to make me look like a genius. Bracket busted. Time to just root for Nova. March Madness has been crazy. I watch a lot of college basketball. St. Peter's? Yeah, but that pisses me off because I'm going to the Sweet 16 on Friday, and I'm not trying to pay my good hard-earned money to watch St. Peter's play.
Yeah, but what a story. What a story if they win again.
Cool. You know what? Go be a good story in the freaking South region where I don't have tickets. All right?
Rob, who would have thought that they would
have whatever. They are in the South region. Wherever they are. Like opposite. No, I'm in the East region, obviously in Philly. But go be in the South or the West. Go over that 15 seed, make a run. I'm trying to see. I'm still miffed that Nova's not in the East. You play at Wells, you win the Big East tournament, rock solid team, and they put them in the South. So I was salty about that. Now I got to go watch a 15 seed play. Give me a break. I do like that coach though.
But is that their fault though?
No.
I mean, nobody expected them to be. I mean, and then they go and they win again. Just on top of it.
Well, I'm rooting for them hard. So Wells Fargo Center hosting Sweet 16 Elite 8 this weekend. St. Peter's is going to take on Purdue at 7:00, and UCLA and the UCLA and North Carolina taking off around 9:30.
That's going to be a classic.
I'll be at both Friday games. It's going to be a blast. But
that's going to be one hell of
a game. And my bracket, by the way, is looking awesome. Every region is pretty good except for that. What is it? The Midwest region where just all hell broke loose last night, where Miami takes out Auburn and Iowa State takes out Wisconsin. Crazy. Nuts.
Well, this has been
Thursday, St. Patrick's Day, Brad. It was the most chaotic day in tournament history I can remember. You had a 15 beat a 2. Every game's down to the wire. Nuts. My bracket is in third place in each of my respective bracket pools. So I'm in it.
There you go.
So I'm picking stinky, but it doesn't matter how. It only matters how you pick compared to all the jabronis you're in a bracket pool with.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
absolutely.
St. Peter's can go kick rocks. Kick rocks.
You're not going to root for them to beat Purdue?
But they're gonna get smoked, Brad.
Hope not.
Look, they caught Kentucky sleeping. Kentucky played no defense. None. They took them lightly, and they were able to advance. Then they get a break, and they had either way they were playing mid-major in San Francisco or Murray State. So that's a break for them.
Oh, absolutely.
If they had to play a middle-tier ACC or Big Ten team, they're probably going home. So they catch a mid-major that also doesn't have any bigs, and they have a chip on their shoulder. I like that about them. Their coach has a chip on their shoulder, and that translates to the whole rest of the team. So they're able to muscle out Murray State, but they're not going to be able to muscle around Purdue. Sorry.
They're big.
Sorry. But yeah, March Madness has been awesome, bro. Joe. Pete Evans, he agrees to the poll, so he's got him over 84.5 wins. Look, they can't possibly win less games than they won last year, right?
You wouldn't think so.
Who are you hitting leadoff, Brad, for this team?
Wow, do they really have a guy that's
no?
That's a real leadoff hitter. I mean, you're not going to lead off Harper, but you want to.
I don't think that's the worst idea in the world, even though it makes me cringe to say that. And I know people are going to rip me for that take too. I don't care. I just shoot from the hip. I'm just an idiot.
I would
I
think
don't care.
you'd want him. I would think you'd want him to bat second. To be honest with you,
Harper.
I mean, yeah.
Here's the thing, Brad, because I have Gene Segura, who hit 245 in the leadoff spot last year, which isn't good. But you put him in the 2-hole. He hit like 296 in the 2-hole.
Well, how many walks did he get?
I mean,
that's important because I mean the key to a leadoff hitter is on base percentage, and if you want your leadoff hitter ideally to at least be 350 if you can.
He is not a Clydesdale when it comes to on base percentage, but he does put his bat on the ball, and he's a professional hitter.
Well, maybe Castellanos might be better, but Castellanos really is a 3 hitter. I would put him at 3 and Harper at 2 and go to play.
And you want to have it as close to left, right, left as you can, at least in the beginning, because the bullpen people, they still have to pitch to a minimum of 3 guys.
Right.
And you got enough thunder because, like, I'm looking at Harper. He's got a 400 on base percentage. I know, like, he hits a lot of home runs, but
but that's why you can bat him. But that's why you can bat him second. Because generally, I mean, in the American League, Rob, they always put the weakest hitter 8, and then they put a fast, better hitter 9th.
Well, see, because the Phillies are really strong 1 through 6, and then you got 7, 8, 9, which is just
who's their 7, 8, and 9.
7, 8, 9 is going to be Didi, Bohm, and Odubel Herrera.
Well, you lead
huge
off
drop-offs from the top 6.
You might want to try Odubel as the leadoff hitter and see if he can get on base. I mean, he's got some speed,
but I mean,
I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Maybe you go with Castellanos leading off, Rob, because you know what? If you lead him off and he's going to get on base a lot, and then you have Harper batting second. That might not be a bad idea. Right there, and maybe you bat Real Muto third, or maybe Real Muto should lead off. Real Muto seems to get on base a lot.
I don't know. The highest on base percentage on the team is Bryce Harper's.
Yeah, but you can't have him leading off.
Why?
Because he's going to hit too many home runs with not enough guys on base.
Oh, that's what he hit 4th all year last year, and he set the major league record for solo home runs. So, like, what's the difference? What are we talking about here? You put him in the 1 slot.
Yeah, but they're a significantly better team this year than they were last year.
Okay, I agree with that. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Joe's going to have his hands full.
They'll figure something. They'll figure out something, I'm sure.
Tom Arnone, they better be over 84.5. I agree with that. They better, because if they don't, Middleton is never going to go over the luxury tax again, ever. So if you want to see the Phillies spend money and bring in top tier talent to make the team better, they're not developing anything on the farm system. That's out of the question.
You can't blame your owner this year.
And by the way, let's relax, Philadelphia, on Bryson Stott, please. Let's just everybody relax and take a deep breath. I understand Didi Gregorius was bad last year, but Bryson Stott is nowhere near Major League right. Bryson Stott, MLB Pipeline does a pretty good job evaluating these prospects. Bryson Stott is the 11th ranked shortstop prospect in the majors. Okay? He's nowhere near the top 100 prospects, overall prospects. So, like, let's relax. Let's let him develop in the minors a little bit more, or trade him at the deadline for something that we actually need, like a center fielder or a leadoff hitter or more bullpen help or a 5th starter. So let's relax on Bryson Stott. If Bryson Stott's playing shortstop this year every day, that's a problem, shortstop, and it would need to be addressed at the trade deadline.
Didi is going to look. Didi's going to play short. I'll tell you right now, if Didi stays healthy, he'll be fine.
Didi Gregorius was bad. I know he's your
Yankee
Yankee
he had
brother.
Bad year last year, but he was plagued with injuries.
Bad year. Didi Gregorius was horrendous last year.
I understand that, but at the same point, he was also really banged up. Hopefully, if he comes out of spring training and he's healthy, I think he'll come back. He'll bounce back and give you a decent year, or at least a decent enough first half to get through, and maybe then you pick up a shortstop.
If he gives me a decent year at shortstop and can hit 7th and be okay.
Listen, Didi
lengthens
Gregorius
my lineup
is
even
very
more.
capable of hitting 20 home runs and knocking in 75, 80
My concern
RBIs.
with Didi is he was not a good defensive shortstop last year. He was a straight butcher.
Was it, do you think because of his injuries, or do you think it's because he's just got
I don't
he's
care
not
why
that
he was
old,
I
is
don't
he?
care why he was horrendous. All right? He was horrendous, and he needs to not be horrendous this year.
I will bet you that he has a good year this year. I bet you he will come back.
I'm rooting for it. I pray that you're right.
Yeah,
Because if
I
the
don't think
Phillies
you're gonna
don't
get
make
50.
84.5 wins and miss the playoffs, it'll be because of defense. And there's no more important defender on the baseball field than your shortstop.
That's
He's
for
got
sure.
it. He's got to step up.
That's for
Bryce
sure.
Blackwell, he's in the house. Check us out on YouTube. The Phillies should be better, and I agree. We still need to make a move trade deadline. Look, there's still missing a pitcher from Bryce. Look, the trade deadline. There's always guys at the trade deadline.
Exactly.
There's always guys. Whether the Phillies are going to be able to match offers because they can't develop down. Look at the A's.
How many teams have good, real top-notch starting pitching? Maybe 3. If you say the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Braves, the Dodgers, and the Mets.
The Brewers have 3 aces.
They have 3. Okay, the Brewers do too, but the Brewers can't hit.
Right, they're like the Bizarro World Phillies.
Yeah, they're the other side of the coin.
So I mean, like you look like Minaya and Montez and Lorano and all those guys out in Oakland. Ketel Marte, I would imagine he's going to be available at the trade deadline. They're going to stink out there in Arizona. I mean, who else stinks? I mean, the Royals stink. Like all these teams stink. The Pirates stink. The Orioles stink. Like all these people they're going to be available. Trade deadline move shouldn't be a problem. The only way it'd be a problem is if
there'll be guys out there. So I mean, we'll see. You never know. That's the beauty of the game. You never know who could step up for the Phillies. Maybe this is going to end up being Nola's year. Who knows? It could be. You don't know that you don't know for sure that it's not. Maybe Eflin steps up. Is he still on the team?
Zach Eflin, yes, he is still on the team.
Maybe he steps up. Again, you don't know. That's the whole thing. That's the beauty of the whole thing.
Yeah. So the rotation, your rotation is probably is Wheeler, Nola, Ranger Suarez, who was pretty good last year, and he's a lefty, Kyle Gibson, and Zach Eflin. Not bad.
Well, again, there are plenty of teams that are in the same position, 3, 4, and 5. So it's not like any shakes. Everybody's in the same boat. You guys have better hitting. You're going to win a lot of games because of your bats. As long as your defense doesn't absolutely slaughter you, you should be fine.
Joseph Orkowski, not sure who's going to pitch if one of our starters gets pulled in the 4th. Phillies don't have a 6th starter or anyone in the long reliever position. Well, we just explained to Joe, just listen. You got a DH now. You got DH now. So you get more flexibility. You don't have to, you can leave a guy out there for longer to let him kind of fight through it because he's never going to have to come up the pitch.
If you're getting smoked, okay, if you're already getting smoked, then whoever's out there is going to have to absorb the beating. So that's what happens in the American League. If a guy's getting slaughtered, they're not going to waste pitchers, okay, and pinch hit for the pitcher. They're just going to say, okay, get us through these innings so we can live to fight tomorrow.
And and number 2, Joe, there's not many teams in Major League Baseball that can, adapt to a bad outing from a starter. If your starter goes 3-4 innings, you're probably going to lose. That's just the way it is.
That's baseball.
Don 19, he's hopped up. We got a big showdown there, Don 19.
Carlos,
my Wildcats against his Wolverines.
Carlos didn't come there, but he went to Minnesota. So That ought to be interesting.
Well, no, because he's a Wolverine fan. He's a Michigan's playing Nova in the Sweet
right.
16.
Okay, that's right.
National championship rematch from a few years ago. And I think the party's going to be over for Don's Wolverines. But we'll see. Iowa State's in the freaking Sweet 16. Nobody saw that coming.
No,
They
everybody would have thought Iowa would be out there, and Iowa found a way to lose too. Son of a guy. It's amazing this tournament, how many upsets seem to come, and it's every year.
Don 19 has the Phillies winning the division. A lot of things would have to go right for that to happen, but I'm all for it. Sure. Let's do it. Look at Frank's even in the chat getting involved. Greg's in the chat. Don 19's probably. I'm assuming he's laughing at my St. Peter's take. Fuck that. Yeah, I'm out on St. Peter's. It's bullshit. Like, and I'm all for no 15 seed never makes it. But when Rob buys tickets, then we gotta make him go watch a 15 seed get smoked by Purdue. Give me a break.
Well, hopefully they'll put up a good battle.
There's Joe's lineup right there. Phillies are going to suck. Dodgers will win the World Series. I mean, okay.
I guarantee you they won't.
You guarantee the Dodgers won't.
They will not win the World Series. They find a way not to win every year. Except
I agree with that.
Except the year when there were 60 games in the season.
Troy H is proposing a Kyle Schwarber leadoff man.
He's too slow. He does get a lot of walks, though.
Not as many as Bryce.
No. But you want
Look,
Bryce.
And then you have, because Didi's a lefty, right?
Huh?
Didi's a lefty. So, like, if I can get Didi on track and be average, and I can just lengthen my lineup with another lefty, I have no problem hitting Bryce Harper leadoff. None. He'll get the most at bats. He gets on base the most. I mean, he already hits a lot of solo home runs anyway.
Well, you have to make sure that Castellanos hits behind him.
No, I'm hitting. No, Segura's hitting behind him.
Segura's
hitting second. He hits 300 in the 2-hole.
Okay.
Then you have Castellanos third. Whatever, Real Muto, Schwarber, however you want to do it after that. Whatever.
Right. No,
a lot of different ways you can slice it.
Yes, I agree with that.
Joe, I just hope Wheeler and Eflin are ready for opening day / week. Joe Romero got placed on the 60-day IL today. Yeah, little rumblings around spring training that Wheeler and Eflin won't be ready for opening day / opening week. Their injuries don't sound serious, but I mean, I guess we'll see. Greg agrees to the poll. Wow.
Keep in mind, it's a long season. It's 162 games. Yeah, they'll be fine. They can hit the ball. Okay, and also, especially early in the season, the pitchers are not going to be getting their normal pitching in. They're not going to be throwing as many innings as they do as they will in the middle of the season. So if there ever is a time for the Phillies to be a little short on their pitching staff, the beginning of the season is good because most of these starters aren't going more than like 4 innings.
Emotional support Peacock, man. You sound mad about the Peacocks. I give the emotional support because I am the emotional support Peacock man. Look, if you want to hoot and holler and scream for St. Peter's, God bless you.
Well, I'm going to root for them. You got to root for the.
They're going to get smoked.
And B,
what's the line? What's the line on that?
Huh? Yeah,
I'm looking at the line.
They're probably
and and mad is not the word, Peacock man. It's annoyed. It's annoyed. Like I shouldn't be subject to watching them get slaughtered by Purdue on Friday night. I want to see Purdue versus Kentucky. I would have even taken Purdue against Murray State, or we could have Purdue versus Nova, because why isn't Nova in the Eastern region? I don't know. They play in Philadelphia.
Because they don't
Guess
want
that
them
would
to
make
get.
too
They
much
don't want them
sense.
to have the home. They don't want them to have the home advantage. That's why.
It's happened before, though.
I know.
I
I
went
know.
to the 1 year when Scotty Reynolds was. I went to their first 2 games that year at the
I-
Wells
I-
Fargo Center.
I understand. But for whatever reason, yeah. I don't understand half of the way they choose divisions anyway. So it's to me, some of this stuff just makes no sense.
So, like, forgive me if I'm not excited when I bought tickets to go watch a 15 seed get smoked by Purdue, because that's what's going to happen. You know, their coach wants to go out and we're from New York, we're from New Jersey, we're not scared of anyone, we don't get pushed around by anyone. Oh yeah, those country-fed boys from Purdue are going to have something to say about that on Friday night. And I think the party is more than over for St. Peter's. And I'm salty about it because I want to see a marquee matchup when I'm paying to go to the game.
Understood. You will though in your second.
What am I? Yeah, I am going to see a marquee matchup in UNC and UCLA in the second game. That should be a absolute
That'll be a barn
dandy.
burner.
How do I do this? I'm trying to work this app. I'm all worked up. I'm on the women's basketball tournament. Purdue and St. Peter's. 12.5-point line in the Sweet 16. 12.5-point line. Cool.
And you know what? That line's going to go down because all the New York and New Jersey people are going to bet it down.
Yeah, Pove. I'm anti-Cinderella when my money's in, and I'm going to see it. I want to see greatness. I want to see.
Rob's not the anti-Cinderella man. Rob's the big bad wolf, and Cinderella and what's her name? Red. Red. What's the one? The one's name that Red Robin or something like that.
What are you talking? Fairy tales?
Yeah.
What, Rapunzel?
Huh?
Rapunzel?
No, the one that brought the picnic basket to Grandma and
what? Hansel and Gretel?
No, the one that brought the picnic basket wanted to bring the picnic basket to Grandma, but the wolf kidnapped Grandma. Just oh my, what big eyes you have, and then what a big nose you have, and what a big mouth you have, and then he says, "Yeah."
Is that Hansel and Gretel? Isn't that Hansel and Gretel?
I can't. You know what? I don't even remember.
I think it is. But yeah.
Anti
St. Peter's. Yeah, I'm annoyed that they're advanced in the region. Little Red Riding.
Thanks,
there you
Don.
go. Don 19. That's good knowledge. That's good work out of him.
Yeah, St. Peter's is Little Red Riding Hood, and Rob's the wolf lying in bed waiting to eat them.
Yeah, like let me watch that on TV Thursday night. You know, then I'm all for it. Whatever.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate luck. You should have had Kentucky. I mean, you should have had Kentucky. It's unbelievable that Kentucky lost to them.
All I learned this weekend was fuck Drew Timme. That asshole scored like 25 straight after only scoring 4 points in the first half against my Cinderella Final 14. Memphis had him. Memphis had him on the ropes, Joe. But, you know, Gonzaga is just really good. And Drew Timme is really good. I forgot how big he was. He's a hoss. And he can do everything.
Well, they're still in it. Arizona's still in it. They survived and advanced.
And then
Bill Middlebrook still there.
Bill Middlebrook's in the track. Watch the Sixers win without the big guys. Yeah, I didn't even put the Sixers in my show criteria tonight. Who cares? No Joe, no Harden. You lose last night to Toronto, so yeah, I need a little break from the Sixers to collect my thoughts. I'm trying not to freak out over last night's pathetic performance by the Philadelphia 76ers.
Wow, what have I been telling you this year? Stop worrying about the regular season. You're going to be in the playoffs. It really shouldn't matter if they have home court or not. They've got the talent to win, to beat anybody at any time if they're
sure
basketball.
Because like my concern level, I mean, it was at a 2 after the Nets debacle. Now, last night kicked me up to a 3. So 3 out of 10 is my concern.
Okay.
But I mean, you didn't even score 90 at home with everybody playing. Joe is 6 of 16 from the floor. That's not good enough. Harden did okay. Maxi's been a ghost. Tobias Harris scored 4 points, and you got nothing again from your bench.
The bench is what would concern me. If I was a Sixer fan, that would concern me, because that's something that's got to improve. That can't continue.
Joe Horossi, after was having pathetic. However, how the hell does that ref call a charge and flagrant on Harden when he is attempting a last-second layup and a defender is jumping in the air? Worst call I've ever seen. I mean, it wasn't a good call. Worst I've ever seen. I don't know. Actually, one of the worst calls I've ever seen was at the end of that TCU Arizona game, where it's 75-75. TCU has the ball at the top of the key. The Arizona defender inexplicably tackles the TCU guard, and the whistles were silent, and it forces the game to overtime, where Arizona, the cream rose to the top and Arizona advanced. But Arizona was dead to rights in that game. TCU had them. I don't know how that ref didn't call a TCU, but I mean, look, the optics of last night concerned me. And this is right after a game where, I couldn't have been happier. You beat a team like the Mavs, and you dusted the Mavs. You didn't just beat the Mavs on Friday night. You dusted the Mavs. Mavs have been one of the best teams in the NBA since December 1st. And then you lay an egg against Toronto, who's an okay basketball team. And then you're playing the Heat at home, and you sit everyone. So, whatever.
That's a strange thing. Whatever is right.
But, how am I supposed to integrate Tobias Harris and Tyrese Maxey into an offense that also includes a ball-dominant Joe and a ball-dominant Harden? How am I supposed to, how am I supposed to figure things out when we're rested?
Well, they are practicing, though.
It's not.
I understand that, but at least they're getting the chemistry.
Yeah, and we got a lot to talk about. I mean, I think let's do some NHL stuff. Obviously, Claude Giroux no longer a Flyer. Our NHL talk tonight brought to you by All Campus. All Campus, right on the boardwalk. Johnny Coyle and me do the rant booth there every Sunday. All Campus between 10th and 11th Street on the Ocean City Boardwalk. Become an A2D member, 20% off, including hats, shirts, and our team cornhole sets. All of our subscribers. Follow the link in the comments to become an A2D member. A2D member, it's $9.99 a month. You get special merchandise, shout outs, and gambling picks from the Money Pop Podcast and Willie Vegas. Hopefully those guys fared better than me on the gambling front when it came to the first weekend of March Madness. But obviously, Claude Giroux, not a Flyer anymore. Biggest name that got moved over the deadline was Claude Giroux, Brad.
I would think so.
He goes to the Florida Panthers. Flyers Nation not happy with the return.
I don't blame them.
What?
I think they should. I think they could have done better. I think that they should have insisted on the 23 first round pick instead of the 24 first round.
You got to remember, this guy's a rental.
Yeah, but you know what? Florida will probably re-sign him. Hey, Rob, you and I have talked about this one thing before, and I got to mention it again. Florida has a big advantage when it comes to paying these guys because of the taxes. They can save money on their luxury tax on their salary cap by paying him less, and he brings home more money in Florida than he would with Philly. He can get away with getting paid a lot less money. It's unfortunate and it's not fair to the rest of the league, but it is what it is. And I can't imagine if Giroux goes there and at least gets to the Stanley Cup Finals, which I'd be shocked if Florida doesn't get there this year. They are just loaded with talent up and down the lineup. He's going to love playing there. He in the wintertime, he can play golf all the time. Who wouldn't love playing in Florida? And Florida also got Sherrod, so he's going to be playing with a great team. He's going to be on their first line, which probably means he's going to be getting at least a point a game now, because Florida scores like a zillion goals a game. He's got it made out there. He's not coming back. I'd be shocked if that happened. But I don't like the return. I think they could have done better. If you consider what the other teams were giving up for players, I wouldn't say the Flyers got fleeced, because I think the kid that they got is got some talent, and unfortunately he just wasn't able to stick with Florida because Florida's just loaded. What chance does a young player have to make that team?
None. Really.
Exactly.
They're in win now. So
you can't. I mean, look, you can make the argument they could have done better. I can make the argument that I think they should have taken the first round pick in 2023 instead of the 2024. But Florida is going to be good for the next 3 years. If they think that they're going to all of a sudden be bad that year, the 2023 draft is going to be a huge draft. There's going to be some great players coming out of that draft. With that guy Bedard at the top, who we already know is going to probably be the next Austin Matthews. Everybody is saying that, so we'll see. And Joseph Horakowski, I can't agree with you. Giroux, if he wins the cup, he's going to stay in Florida. Nobody leaves. Once somebody goes to Florida, the only way they leave is if they either if an expansion team comes and plucks somebody off their roster. If you notice, guys that are free agents, they try to go back and play in Florida if they can, either there or Tampa Bay. They're nobody wants to leave there. It's paradise for hockey players. They can play golf every day in the winter. It's the weather's incredible. They have an incredible team. Why would he want to leave?
Another team that jumped out to me today was the Minnesota Wild. They grab a goalie, Marc-Andre Fleury. A lot of experience.
Big pickup, and then they go out and they get two of the toughest guys in the league, in Delorier and Middleton. Boy, Delorier. I'll tell you what. If you're playing Minnesota with those two guys, and then you've got to deal with Greenway on the back line, you're going to get and Neil Hartman, who's a very good center, who's also nasty as hell. They are real hard to play against. They're not going to be a fun team to have to deal with in the playoffs.
And then I thought Carolina Hurricanes made a big splash.
Max Domi.
Max Domi. That happened kind of late.
Yep, but that's a good move. He's another guy with an edge. Florida did need somebody like that on their team. I'm sorry, not Florida. Carolina needed somebody like that on their team. They're not really they're more of a finesse team than a tough team, and I think that was a good move for them.
And the Flyers, they were busy. They sent Justin Braun to your Rangers, Brad.
And according to I did put on the air today, because I haven't seen him play at all this year, and I appreciate the response I got today to help me out here. Sounds like he was killing penalties and doing a nice job with the Flyers, and he'll be a good addition to the Rangers' third pair.
He was one of the few bright spots on a really bad, tough to watch hockey team.
I know he's a plus player, and to be a plus player on a team who's given up so many goals, that kind of tells me that he must have had a pretty good year. He'll probably take the place of the rookie Braden Schneider for the time being, at least for the playoffs, and let Schneider get more experience next year. Schneider kind of got the the acid test, I guess, this weekend when the Rangers played at Tampa Bay and then they played at Carolina, and he kind of got schooled. The Rangers did win both those games, but he had a rough time. So did Nemeth, for that matter, but Schneider really struggled, and it's probably best for his development to go back down and just play a little bit more, and let a veteran, a guy like that, play, and that's obviously what the Rangers are looking for. Rangers are going to have a tough time, though. Pittsburgh picked up Raquel, so that's not going to make it any easier for them if they have to play them in the playoffs.
Are they ever going to go away, the Panther or the Penguins? Can they ever just go away?
They have
never
good
go
management.
away.
They have good management, and Crosby is still doing the job. He's not the best player in the league anymore, but he's still getting the job done. And Malkin can still be an effective player. So, I keep thinking every year it's going to be it for the Penguins, but somehow they still manage to stay up there. So we'll see. The problem with the Penguins last year in the playoffs, Jarry was terrible. So we'll have to see what Jarry does in the playoffs. If Jarry continues to play the way he's played in the regular season, they're going to be a tough out. Washington picked up Johansson, so they get more scoring.
I'm trying to bring up these standings here. For those interested, the Sixers are up 3. 4 minutes to go in the first half.
Okay.
It gives me no information. I get no information from this game. But I mean, there's Joe with checking in. Derek Brassard goes to the Oilers. That's really the last one that I had on my list that caught my eye is a move of substance.
Well, the move was you guys did get a. By the way, the Flyers did get a 23 second-round pick. So to prove my point again about the 2023 draft, the Flyers did get a third-rounder from 2023 and not 2022 from the Rangers. And if you look at the Ranger trades, they all ended up having to be 2023 draft picks. That's all the general managers want. So there is something about that year and how good that draft is going to be that everybody wants that year and not this coming year. So I don't know if it's that this year isn't good or it's just that it's so incredible next year that that you can't not be a member or a part of it. So we'll see about that.
One thing that surprised me at the deadline was the St. Louis Blues. Unless I missed something, they were rather quiet.
The Blues made a move. I'm trying to remember who.
I didn't have it on my list, so maybe the people out there or you who is a diehard hockey fan can enlighten me.
The Blues made it. The Blues made a trade today.
Okay, was it going to make the difference?
Well, let me see that. They got Letty. Okay, and Sundqvist went to the Wings. Letty is a defenseman. I don't know that he's going to necessarily be the answer, but I think after seeing the Penguins outshoot them like 45-20 the other night when they lost, I think they realized they had to upgrade their defense. But Letty's old. I don't know if that's going to really make that big a difference. I know they had to give Sundqvist to the Red Wings, so I thought the Red Wings definitely got a good deal there.
I mean, I thought the Blues missed on Domi.
He would have been a nice pickup, but the Blues needed a better defenseman than the Blues should have been the ones.
I'm just looking at the Blues who were look. You have Colorado, who just has 93 points. Is just smoking everyone in the Central Division and the Western Conference.
Colorado basically has made some unbelievable moves.
They're the cream of the crop, but then you got. Yeah, but Brad, in the Central, you got the Blues with 77. You got Minnesota with 76 points, that is. And then you go down to the wild card. Nashville's got 76, and Vegas has got 72. 71, 68, and 68 for Dallas, Winnipeg, and Vancouver, respectively. So those teams aren't out of it.
Trouble. Vegas is in big trouble. Jack Eichel got hurt, and he's going to be out for like 3 or 4 weeks. So unless Mark Stone comes back, they're in big trouble.
So, like, who moves into that? You think Winnipeg moves into that?
Well, Winnipeg definitely traded out. Is Vancouver in the playoffs yet?
No, they're at 68 points. They're 4 back of Vegas.
I think Vancouver is going to catch them. They're not going. Vancouver is definitely going to catch them. Vegas is in trouble. They are just so banged up right now. It's unbelievable. As I said, unless Stone comes back. I mean, they lost Ryan. They lost Ryan. What the hell is it? Ryan O'Reilly. I think they lost him. They just lost so many guys. They're really banged up. I don't know how they're doing it, but I think it's going to catch up to them. Vancouver's been playing well. I mean, they're going to be tough to. They're going to be tough to get out of the playoffs. I'm trying to see who the Avs got today. The Avs did did extremely well. Avs trades. Lehkonen. They got Lehkonen from Montreal, who was probably their best forward. They also got Cogliano from I think he's on Anaheim. Cogliano's a veteran right winger, tough player too. You gotta love guys like that. But they're just gonna be impossible to play against. I mean, they basically Colorado didn't make any major trades. They just basically took all their weaknesses and upgraded all their weaknesses. And they're so good right now. Their two top lines are so good right now, and they can score with their third line and their fourth line. It's going to be hard to see them lose. I mean, I know Tampa Bay made a nice upgrade today too, but I don't think they're going to beat Florida. I think it's going to be Florida right now. It just looks to me like Colorado and Florida in the Stanley Cup Finals. And your guess,
Colorado and Florida.
Yep, your guess is as good as mine. Who wins? I think Florida can beat them. To be honest with you.
Well, I'm rooting for Giroux. I want Giroux to win.
Okay, Cogs came from San Jose. Thanks, Bobby Stevens. I appreciate that. I knew it was one of those teams. Raquel, I know Raquel and Raquel came from Anaheim, so that was the team that they got. The Sharks kept Hurdle, so he didn't end up getting traded. Strangely enough, am I wrong? Phil Kessel didn't. I don't think Phil Kessel got traded today, which is really strange. Unless something came in late. If you guys know if he got traded, I'm wondering because I didn't see anything about him getting traded at all today. So that's a bit I found that to be a little strange.
All right, let's move on to some NFL. Our NFL talk tonight brought to you by Gleason's Bar, located 6700 Mill Creek Road in Levittown, Pennsylvania. Use promo code A2D, 10% off whether you dine in or take out. There's the website right there, Gleason'sBarandSteaks.com. But the QB carousel is a buzz in the NFL. And a lot of players, we'll start with the quarterbacks, then we'll work our way down to all the other studs that move teams this offseason. But we'll go with recency. You know, we had Matt Ryan go from Atlanta to Indianapolis today. This doesn't really move the needle for me in terms of Indianapolis at all. I don't think they're going to make the.
I think it moves the needle a lot to me. Matt Ryan is significantly better than Wentz at any time of his career, with the exception of 1 year. I mean, Matt Ryan may not be as good as he used to be, but Matt Ryan is still a very efficient quarterback, and he's going to now be playing 8 of his 16. Well, he was playing 8 of his 16 games indoors before too, or eight
Correct.
of his 17
He's played
games.
his whole career in a dome.
He's played his whole career indoors. He's going to have a good team again. I think they're going to be. I think the Colts are going to be okay with him.
But I look at the AFC West. There's 4 teams in the AFC West that I think are better than the Colts.
Yeah, but the Colts might win that division. Remember one thing: those teams are going to have to play each other too in the West. So that something always ends up happening to one of them. I mean, we thought this year.
I mean,
I understand, but Rob, look,
I don't know.
Something we thought at the beginning of this season that the NFC West was going to be wicked, which it was. But, one team had an injury, and that was Seattle, and they went completely down the tubes, and now they don't even have their quarterback. So,
and then you have Marcus Mariota. Atlanta got to work quick. They signed Marcus Mariota. He was Derek Carr's backup last year. Pending the NFL draft, he's going to be their starter down there. I think that's a perfect stopgap guy.
Yeah, and it's another chance for Mariota if he can stay healthy. And Mariota is not a bad quarterback.
I agree with you. I'm interested to see what Mariota and Mitch Trubisky do with their new opportunities after losing starting jobs, shifting to a backup, and now getting the nod to be starters again. I think Mitchell Trubisky.
It'll be fun to watch those two guys.
I'll say it right now. I think Mitchell Trubisky is going to do well in Chicago. I think the Steelers are going to win that division with Mitchell Trubisky. I do. I mean,
Yeah,
Mitchell.
well,
Look, I
I'm
mean,
just
look at
thinking.
it. The
I'm
Steelers
thinking
made the
about.
playoffs last year, Brad, in a very, 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 very competitive AFC. And Ben Roethlisberger, with all
He
due
was pretty
respect to
bad.
his legacy, was not very good.
Yeah, no, he was pretty bad. No, I'm just thinking. I'm thinking about the Browns too. With now that they got Watson, that's going
Well,
to make
I
a big.
gotta see. I gotta see if he's suspended and for how long.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I wouldn't count out the Ravens either, though. Yeah, their season really was ruined by all those injuries. So let's see what happens when they come back with a full squad this coming year.
But like you have the AFC champion Bengals, they're far from a lock to make the playoffs in the AFC next year. I don't think there's anyone that's a lock to make the playoffs in the AFC
Well,
next
the
year.
Chiefs. Yeah, the Chiefs will make the playoffs, and the Bills will make the playoffs too. I don't think that there's.
I mean, are you sure? I mean, are
Why
you
would?
sure about the Chiefs?
Yeah, they'll make the playoffs.
I mean, I hear you. It sounds weird to think about the Chiefs, but not in the playoffs because they have Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. But the Chargers are
Yeah,
better. The Raiders are better. And the Broncos are way better with Russell Wilson.
right, but they're still not as good as the Chiefs, though.
I don't know about that.
Maybe the
Look,
Raiders.
I'm pretty.
The
Look, and
Chiefs' defense was really bad.
a
But
lot of people are going to be picking Denver and the Chiefs out there in the AFC West. I'm loving the Raiders. I used to hate on Derek Carr a lot. He showed me a lot last season, keeping that team together with all their turmoil, everyone going to jail, and they made the playoffs. Very nearly beat the Bengals on Wild Card Weekend in Cincinnati, and now you bring Devontae Adams in. Look, what do we talk about here on the Sports Hounds all the time, Brad? You got to have a franchise quarterback, and you got to be able to score 30 points at the blink of an eye to win a championship in today's NFL.
that's true.
The Raiders
And
have a franchise quarterback in Derek Carr, who they paid. And now they have Waller. They have Renfro. They have Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams goes from Green Bay to Vegas.
their defense is pretty good, too.
And you have Jacobs running the ball. Pretty good offensive line, an offensive line that led you to the playoffs last year. I'm really – and I love McDaniels. I think McDaniels was young and immature when he coached the Broncos his first time around. Got his ass canned, went back in the oven, matured a little bit more under Bill Belichick, learned a lot, got a Mac Jones to the playoffs last year, which I think Mac Jones stinks, by the way. Mac Jones stinks. Regression city, especially without Josh McDaniels as his offensive coordinator. Mac Jones is not good. He's going to show that this year. Josh McDaniels is going to be a good football coach in Vegas. So those are two teams that, I'm looking at this thing, and, I like the Steelers a lot. Great all-around football team right there. And I like the Raiders a lot in the AFC. And then you have the Bills.
Yeah, the Bills are still going to be a very tough team to beat this year.
You have the Bills. How about all the money they gave Von Miller?
No, Von Miller is a real good player, and he should
32, 33 years old.
Yeah, but he's still good. He's still an impact player. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, hopefully for Buffalo, he stays healthy. That's going to be the key. I mean, we both know is with older players, it's the health that seems to go first. Nobody's ever beaten Father Time, and that's the one thing that could catch up with him as far as Von Miller goes. But I think Buffalo is going to be very, very tough to beat in this league next year. I mean, they should have won the last game. If not for a bad coaching move, they would have won that game against Kansas City.
Oh, it was brutal. Brutal coaching.
Yeah, they really messed up that last game by not squib kicking it. That was as dumb a move as you'll ever see.
So, you have straight heavyweights out in the AFC.
Yes.
Heavyweights. And then,
Absolutely.
you have guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady look at the landscape in the NFC, and they want to come back and they want to make another run at it. Jimmy G is probably the next shoe to drop in the QB carousel. I don't trust Trey Lance at all out there in San Francisco. Baker Mayfield's also going to go somewhere, but I wouldn't be interested in. I wouldn't hire Baker Mayfield to deliver a pizza for me.
I'm
Honestly,
just trying to remember who the most likely candidate. What do you think? Maybe Seattle?
I think that makes sense.
Because
I
I'm
think
just
that
thinking
makes sense. Baker
of all the
Mayfield in
teams. I mean,
Seattle.
well, they had a small, they had the smallish Russell Wilson, and they were, they were able to get a lot out of him. His game is sort of close to Russell Wilson. Maybe they think they could get him to be kind of like Russell Wilson.
I mean, I don't see the Niners trading Jimmy Garoppolo to the Seahawks.
Oh no, they're not trading him to a division team.
The Falcons made their decision with Mariota. The Colts did their thing with Matt Ryan.
Nah, I think
So-
Seattle's the logical team to get him. To get him. I can't imagine anybody else would even want to try to get him at this point.
Carolina, maybe. Saints re-signed Jameis
I think
Winston.
Carolina is going to end up with Garoppolo.
So that's the two teams. So Carolina, Garoppolo, and then Seattle, Baker.
Yeah, I think if you're asking me to take a guess, and again, I haven't done any research on that, so this is just a hunch on my part.
And then, you look at Tampa's going to be loaded. They're going to have Tom Brady back. Tom Brady did not look his age at all last season. Aaron Rodgers is going to be back in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers will not have Devontae Adams. So they got to figure something out there. You look at Dallas. Dallas lost a lot of talent this offseason. A lot of talent. Lyle Collins goes from Dallas to Cincinnati. They solidify their offensive line. Amari Cooper gets traded for a 6th round for nothing. He goes to Cleveland. He's going to play with Deshaun Watson. And who else did they lose? They lost Randy Gregory, one of their better pass rushers.
Yep.
He scorns them. The deal falls apart. He ends up in Denver with Russell Wilson. So that the gap, especially in the East, just shrunk a lot. This time last year.
Where do you think Julio Jones goes? And come to think of it, what other receivers got released? Jarvis Landry, another one.
Jarvis Landry, I want in Philadelphia.
Jarvis Landry is a good receiver.
Jarvis, Howie he shifted. He played his games with Fletcher Cox, and they got him at a better cap number. They played some games with Darius Slay. They got saved a bunch of cap space on that move. So the Phillies the Eagles have money to do something here. You got the Honey Badger out there still. You got Bobby Wagner out there still. You have Julio Jones out there still. You have Jarvis Landry out there still. To answer your question, I think Julio Jones goes to Indianapolis.
He'd be a good fit there. Yeah.
You go rejoin with Matt Ryan and they'll try and do something there in Indianapolis. Don 19, Odell Beckham Jr. is still out there. Odell Beckham Jr. tore his ACL in the Super Bowl, though, so I don't expect him to play next year.
Yeah, he's not. Unless if Odell plays at all next year, somebody will grab him like in December if he's able to play. That would probably be my.
Maybe you sign him. Someone signs him, like a contender signs him
late
to, get him in their rehab program, get him under their doctors. He'll probably get signed. Maybe he'll get signed in that second wave of free agents after June 1st, like we talked about, at the top of the show. Bill Middlebrook, as much as I want to run Hurts out of town, he's now the 6th best QB in the NFC after all the moves. And I say that not adding in Trey or Trevor because they haven't shown anything yet. Who's Trevor?
Lawrence.
Yeah, but he's not in the NFC.
I think that's who he means, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
no, I'm just saying. I think that's who he's talking about.
With all the move, I mean, look, all the good players are in the AFC. Like this is the biggest disparity I've ever seen in my life between AFC versus NFC. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
it is unbelievable.
Bill Middlebrook, I'm all in. I'm all in for the Philadelphia Eagles to get Jarvis Landry. That's the kind of guy you want. He can run the slot. He can run outside. He can be a mentor. He does things the right way. He catches absolutely everything. I think you're getting him on the cheap because he had some injuries last year. Like, this is a rock solid guy to solidify your receiving room.
He couldn't hurt, that's for sure.
And they signed Zach Pascal today, but like, give me a break on Zach Pascal.
I think that was kind of a waste of money, but
it was a 1 year nothing deal. But like,
yeah,
you still need receivers and playmakers in Philadelphia. And what I hope that they're not going to do is say, we don't need any more receivers. We signed Zach Pascal.
I think he'll try. I think Howie will try to get one in the draft.
Don 19, Antonio Brown to Philly. Antonio Brown is a lunatic. I don't want him. No one should want him. He's crazy.
Yeah.
Bill Middlebrook, Jarvis Landry in Green Bay. That makes a lot of sense too.
That would make a lot of sense. So would Julio Jones, for that matter.
So, I mean, look, they're going to have to do something there in Green Bay to appease Aaron Rodgers. Because
he's not going to be happy. But the
problem he had to have known this is coming. You want to bitch and moan and make all the money, then that's a detriment to keeping your boy.
I was going to say Aaron Rodgers. As far as Aaron Rodgers is concerned, dude, you signed a $40 million contract. Okay, are you really mad that he's making $28 million? I mean,
Devontae Adams
can't take $68 million and pay it on two players, and pay two players with $68 million. You can't do that. There'll be nobody to build. It's hard enough to build a team when the quarterback makes 40. That's hard enough, but 68 on two players. That's impossible. You can't win a championship that way. I mean, am I wrong?
You're right.
You can't.
I was just surprised that, I figured that they would be a package deal. Like, I didn't think Aaron Rodgers would play in Green Bay if Devontae Adams was elsewhere.
Well, he had to know, though, something was up.
He's not dumb, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he had to know something was up, because that you can't do that. You can't do that and be a winning team.
Bryce Blackwell, Howie's asleep at the wheel, looking like a slow build. Like, relax, Bryce. They just cleared a lot of money. There's still really good players out there. Really good players. The number one free agent before all this started was Teron Armstead. Not saying the Eagles are going to be in on him, but he's a premier offensive tackle in this league. And he's not going back to the Saints. He's going somewhere.
A lot of teams right now are in the process of restructuring and cutting guys that they don't want on and trying to get themselves some cap space. So this is going to be an ongoing issue for a while. And then you got the June 1st the roster bonuses and those cuts so that they don't have to pay roster bonuses and all that sort of thing. The Giants are not going to get Baker Mayfield on 19. They already signed Tyrod Taylor to be the backup to Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones doesn't cut it this year and Tyrod has to take over, then next year they're going to draft a quarterback. That's the plan. The Giants know they're not going to be a big time football team this year. They're just trying to clean up the mess that was left by Dave Gettleman, and Dave Gettleman left a real bad mess. So they're going to just try to be competitive this year, and then the following year they'll have some cap space again, and they can try to get good. I mean, it's not going to happen for them this year. I think we all as Giant fans have accepted that and need to move on.
Bill Middlebrook, Julio can't play a whole season. He's going to be 34, and Atlanta aged him like he's 44. I'm really curious on where OBJ goes. I mean, OBJ tore his ACL in February. Odell Beckham Jr. probably isn't going to play much football, if any football, next year. So you need to take that into account.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, Odell Beckham is going to be a late season guy. And so whoever gets him will sign him for the rest of this season, late in the season, and then next season. And get him next season when he's healthy. And I think that's what you're going to see happening.
There's a lot of good players.
Oh, there sure are. They're
still out there.
And I don't think the trade market is over either. But Rob, this quarterback carousel is just incredible. Never seen anything like it.
Best remaining free. I'll look at this list. See if this list is any good. Let's see when this was. Like Carlton. No, this is old. This is from the. No, this is from today. But Allen Robinson. How about Allen Robinson goes from the Bears to the Rams?
So, that's an interesting one. Allen Robinson had a terrible year last year, and he was injured too. So I guess the Rams are trying to get him on the cheap and try to stick their head in the ring again and see what they can do.
Leonard Fournette still out there. Stephon Gilmore still out there. Former
Didn't they
defensive
resign
player
Leonard
of the year.
Fournette? Didn't the Jaguars resign him?
Not according to this article. I didn't see it.
I thought I saw it. I guess not. The Jaguars signed somebody. The Jaguars have been signing a lot of guys.
I saw the Patriots were looking at Fournette.
I thought I heard that, but maybe I'm wrong.
Like Gronk is still out there on sign. Akeem Hicks, defensive tackle for the Bears. That feels like a Howie move. Howie depth move if he gets the right price on him. Nice defensive tackle. The Honey Badger's still out there, which I would sign him and fight. He's a fit for all 32 teams.
He's getting
Tyrann
old.
Mathieu is a stud.
He's getting old though.
That's okay. I don't have to give him years.
No, that's true. That's true.
And he's going to turn 30. He's 29 right now.
Oh, is he? Okay. I thought he was older than that.
Bobby Wagner's out there. 32 teams should be in on Bobby Wagner. The Bulldog. Great guy to have in your locker room.
He's a safety, isn't he?
No, middle linebacker.
What's the safety? Okay. I thought he was a safety.
Cam Chancellor was the safety there.
Okay. Gotcha.
But Don 19, I'll be honest, I don't think none of these QBs get drafted in the first round. That's just not how the league works, Don. There's going to be 3 or 4 that are drafted.
They'll all be drafted.
Because teams panic and they make bad choices, and this is why they pick at the top of the draft. I honestly can see somebody finally looking at Cappy, even after all these years. His workouts look great, and the QB shortage, you think he'd be at least a backup. Well, I mean, teams have offered him to come in and compete for backup jobs. I believe the Ravens did. I know that Denver did a couple of times. I think Seattle did a couple times. But he wants starter money and he wants to start. And that's just not going to happen.
Here's a guy for the Eagles. What about Stephon Gilmore?
I'm in. Sign everybody. I'm all in for signing everybody.
He'd be a nice pickup.
So, yeah, I mean, that'd be great. Slay and Gilmore, and maybe use one of your picks in the first round to get a little younger in the secondary. That'd be great. Bill Middlebrook, Honey Badger, Gilmore, Wagner. Draft a wide receiver.
I mean, Calais Campbell seems like a move for the Eagles, too. They love to get defensive tackles. He's another one.
Patrick Peterson, Benny's Nation, sure. Let's bring him in. Just bring him in. And some of these guys are old that you're only going to – old and, coming off not good seasons that you can just give them, 1 year show me deals and it won't be for much money and you can just cut them. Like, who cares? Getting to the draft. Did you see the David Ajabu injury, the kid out of Michigan, tore his Achilles at his pro day?
No, that's a shame.
Yeah.
No, that's
so that sucks. So teams are gonna have to make a decision about where to draft him. I'm totally out on him as an Eagles draft pick. Even at 51 or the third round, no round do I want David Ajabu. And it's a shame because the kid is awesome. Like, he's really good. He's explosive. He grew up in Nigeria, born in Nigeria, grew up in Scotland. Didn't play football until his junior year of high school. He's about to be a first-round pick in the draft, and he tears his Achilles at the Underwear Olympics there at Michigan's Pro Day. So that sucks. That totally sucks. But I don't want David Ajabu at all on the Eagles. He was a project to begin with, even though he's a great story, and now he's got a busted Achilles. So no thanks on David Ajabu.
What about a guy like JPP?
What's he, a free agent?
Yep. He's a defensive end.
I mean, can he still play?
He played pretty well last year.
Let's bring him in. Cool. And the draft, someone needs to explain to me how it's possible for Jordan Davis to be a bust in the NFL. Jordan Davis, for those of you who don't know, Jordan Davis is the defensive tackle from Georgia. He is 350 pounds. He runs a 4.7 40. He tossed people around for the last 2 seasons in the SEC. How can he be bad? I would take him, honestly, Brad, I would take him with 5 or 7 if I were your New York Giants.
I mean, they might. Very good. They seem to. Who's the guy on Iowa? The offensive lineman on Iowa.
Linderbaum, the interior guy, the center,
Yep.
Bill Middlebrook. I think you're referring to Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle at Jordan, who I just mentioned.
Yeah,
I would trade up to get him in the draft if I'm the Eagles. Linderbaum, I mean, look, these Iowa guys, they do well.
Yeah, they do. But it's always like offensive and defensive linemen that do well with them. It doesn't seem like the skill position guys are all that good with them. There are a lot of good free agents left, Rob. I was just looking at the list myself.
Ton.
Yeah, if you can find money somewhere, there's still ways to patch holes. To put it, I mean, that probably is the best way to put it. You can patch a lot of holes with the guys that are still left out there. And by the way, that was a very good move with Fletcher Cox redoing his contract, so it's 1 year at $14 million, and then you can play it year to year with him, because I think he'll keep signing 1 year contracts as long as he's taken care of with the Eagles.
Yeah, and I'm glad they brought him back, because I'm not ready to see him go yet. I understand it's a business, but I believe in continuity, especially in the trenches and at the quarterback position. And the Eagles haven't had any continuity at the quarterback position over the years, but they're still in the playoffs every year, or darn near every year, because they have continuity at their offensive and defensive lines. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Brooks has been here forever. Now you got you're kind of shifting some new guys in with Mailata and Landon Dickerson on that left side. That's why I can't buy into the Colts. You can't put together a sustained success in this league when you've had 5 quarterbacks in the last 5 years. You can't do it.
It's not easy, but I'll tell you what, a guy like Matt Ryan's been around so long. I think he'll have no problem learning the playbook. And I just think that a guy like that will fit right in seamlessly.
Another guy, I really like Chris Olave. He's a receiver out of Ohio State. If the Eagles were going to draft a receiver,
I think from what I've heard, he's going to. They've been saying, from what I've read, between 9 and 11, he's going to get picked.
But who knows?
Yeah, the Eagles could end up trading up too if they really wanted a guy like that.
But, you don't know. I'm looking at these through CBS. They do a good job because they put 3 experts next to each other in a chart, so you can look at all the 3 mock drafts at once. And they're so different. Nobody knows. I see Garrett Wilson, the other receiver from Ohio State, getting picked way higher than Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave is way better.
Yeah, this is a big.
I mean,
this is a big year for the Eagles. They've got to get these drafts right. I mean, drafting in the NFL, it's all about making. When you want to try to get to the next level, it's all about the draft and being able to.
And, we were talking a lot of baseball earlier. Like, just give me 2 singles and a double in the first round. You don't have to hit 3 grand slams.
No,
get me competent football players that can play. I would like to see them pick a receiver. I would like to see them pick a secondary guy, and I think they need a pass rusher.
Well, they need a lot of help in the secondary. That was a major. I mean, other than Slay, the rest of their secondary was bad, and they've got it. And it would be nice to see them actually get a linebacker. That would be most helpful for them, because that seems to be a position that they just never.
This is why I think when I look at, and I guess you could put linebacker or secondary person, but you need a pass rusher and you need a receiver. My opinion. Badly. I like Olave a lot. You got Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. This guy's got him a Derek Stingley out of LSU being there at 16. That would be crazy. Kyle Hamilton's a dream scenario if he drops in the draft for the Eagles. Kyle Hamilton's a stud. Ahmed Gardner, Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. He seems to emerge as the best corner. Yeah, I don't think that, you got your Giants up there at 5 and 7.
Well, I think they're going to take it. From what I've heard, they're going to an edge rusher and an offensive lineman. I think they're going to try to get the edge rusher at 5 and the offensive lineman at 7, from what I've heard. I think the guy's name is Thibodeau or something like that. The defensive lineman.
That guy's a bum, man. Don't pick him.
No, that I've heard a lot about him, but who knows who they're going to pick? I mean, they're definitely not giving anything away. That's for sure. And that's as far as the Giants are concerned, the one thing that Gettleman did do was give them 2 first-round picks, and they got lucky because Chicago was so bad. So they got 2 high picks this year. They need to hit a home run with one of them and at least a double with the other one if they're even going to remotely improve. I mean, they picked up. I know they picked up a couple of decent offensive linemen, so at least they will have. I'm not going to say they're going to have a good offensive line, but at least they will have a semi-competent offensive line this year. And if Daniel Jones gets hurt again, at least they will have a semi-competent quarterback.
Benny's Nation. He wants Devin. He wants Devin Lloyd for, I assume, the Eagles, linebacker out of Utah. With Bill Middlebrook, the draft value calculator says 15 and 16 can get you all the way up to 3. Would you rather have a 3 or back-to-back picks at 15 and 16? I would rather have 15 and 16 back-to-back. Look, this is a draft where, if you move back,
you need bodies. You need bodies right now.
Look at the draft. 1 through 50. There's not that big of a difference, it seems. But that's what Daniel Jeremiah and Bucky Brooks say, at least. And those are 2 guys that I can at least somewhat. St. Peter's, but Daniel Jeremiah.
You're never going to get the end of that one.
Well, I mean, it's bullshit, Brad.
It's the big bad wolf over here, folks, and he wants to eat Little Red Riding Hood.
I'm not trying to see freaking St. Peter's, right? Who's trying to pay money to go see that?
Oh well,
no one.
Well, people from New Jersey might.
Bryce Blackwell. I know. I just called someone a bum. Kayvon Thibodeau. Yeah, that guy's a bum. That guy's poison. That guy's toxic. That guy doesn't care about football. That guy is Jadeveon Clowney 2.0. He even compared himself to Jadeveon Clowney at the Combine. Jadeveon Clowney has been one of the bigger disappointments in recent draft history. Talk about all the buzz he had coming out of South Carolina. Jadeveon Clowney hasn't lived up to that.
Always gets hurt.
So, I mean, and Bill, to get back to your point, no, I want to bring in an army. I want to bring in an infantry that can take down the Russian military, in this draft. So if that means I got to trade back a couple of times and, bring in 5-6 guys, 5-6 of the top 50 in this draft, and I think this looks like the draft to do that because there's not a quarterback at the top that I can trade to go get. And I have just get younger everywhere. Get a quarterback or get a corner, get a safety, get a linebacker, get an edge rusher. You got 4 in the top 51. Why not make it 6 of the top 51 somehow? And you still have money. You can, Don 19. Yeah, Jordan Davis can take down a Russian tank. Jordan Davis is my number one wish list guy this draft season. And I don't care that we have Hargraves and Fletcher Cox. You take the best available guy. And I see 0 bust potential in Jordan Davis. He's a monster. Karalafis out of Purdue could be a guy the Giants take it at 7. Could be a reach, but if you want a pass rusher with a job,
I don't know that they're going to do that.
You might have to take him there.
I think the Giants are going to take the best players. I don't think they're going to necessarily. I mean, I think they're going to go for an offensive lineman, but I think they're going to They have so many holes to fill right now. I think they're going to try to get the best players available.
And that's what you should do.
Yeah, that would be what I would suggest the Giants do. And who's ever on their draft board, we'll see.
I mean, Bob Brinkman, the Eagles should get 4 picks, 4 prospects with these picks. You got 4 of the top 51. It's time to make something happen. Howie Roseman can make all of his draft day mistakes and despair disappear with even 2 home runs with these 4 picks.
Well, Howie hasn't exactly been a wheel of fortune making his picks lately, so he's going to need to do that this time.
Well, I mean, he did good last year, which is kind of what we're hanging our hat on here in Philadelphia. He picked Devontae Smith and Landon Dickerson last year, two players that look like they're going to start for a lot of years here in Philadelphia. He took Milton Williams, a defensive tackle that did some nice things, and he picked Kenneth Gainwell, running back in the 4th round, who scored 7 touchdowns. So that's what we're hanging our hat on here in Philadelphia, that somehow, some way, Howie Roseman has turned a corner and is going to make competent, logical draft picks.
And Bill Riverbrook wants to know what happens with Barkley. Barkley is going to be the de facto number 1 running back, and hopefully he will be fully recovered from all the injuries he's had the last couple of years, and he has a big year. This is year 5 for him. So it's either how do I put this? What the hell? It's either shit or get off the pot for Saquon Barkley this year. That's what it's going to be with him. I'm still wondering what the Giants are going to do about Bradbury, if they're going to bring him back, or they're going to he's going to be a June 1st casualty, or if he's going to get traded.
And that's a guy that Howie can lay in the weeds for.
Yeah, exactly. That I mean, there's a very good chance they're gonna. I know they've been trying to trade him, but I don't think they've gotten anything that they consider top value for him. But I think he's making 13-14 million a year this year. It's like a $13-14 million cap hit for them this year, and they need cap space. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that could be a guy that could be going too.
I don't understand how your football team has cap issues when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal.
Because Dave Gettleman screwed up the team. That's why. He blew the money on a bunch of crappy players. I mean, that's basically.
Well, you signed Bradbury.
Bradbury was really good 2 years ago. Last year, he was not as good. He fell off.
And Galladay's been a disaster.
Galladay, and you're paying him $18 million. And you know what? You can't really cut him this year because all that money is guaranteed. So, he's going to be a cap hit. They have to hope that he comes back and has a better year this year. Now, next year they could cut him, and they won't take nearly the cap hit they would this year. But they would get killed cap hit wise. So they might as well hitch their wagons and hope the guy can stay healthy. He's got ability, but he's got to stay healthy.
I know you paid Martinez from the Packers.
Well, they actually were able. He actually took a pay cut to stay there, so that's a good thing. And
He's good. He just got hurt.
yeah, he got hurt, but he'll be back. And believe me, they really missed him last year.
Look, there's just not much going on for the Giants.
No, not this year. Not this year.
At least you have 2 picks.
It's gonna take a couple of years for
So
them to get back into get back into being.
because this time last year, Brad, we were talking about like runaway city for the Dallas Cowboys, and that's really what it ended up being. This year, not so much. Dallas lost a lot.
Yeah, I still think they're the best team in the division, though. The division still is really bad. That's the whole. That's the whole. Gist
There's
of it.
worse divisions out there. The NFC South is horrid.
Yeah, but they still have Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay.
Well, they have Tampa.
Tampa Bay is still really good.
But like I think the Eagles and the Commanders are better than the Saints, the Panthers, and the Falcons.
Yeah, probably. Well, the Saints are going to have Winston back, so that should help. I don't know about. I just the Saints are a weird team. I don't know what to make of them. What's going to happen with them?
They have no identity, Brad.
Yeah, well,
they're not an offensive team. They're not a defensive team. They don't have Sean Payton. They don't have a franchise quarterback. I mean,
they don't. They still have a very good running back, but if he gets hurt, that team is dead.
Michael Thomas, like you don't know what's going on with him.
He's another.
They lost Marcus Williams to the Ravens.
Yeah, right now, maybe Carolina might be the best maybe the second best team in that division.
But they have no quarterback. Darnold's terrible.
I know, but I think
I need a shoe to drop. I need Baker or Jimmy G to go there, preferably Jimmy G, because I think Baker Mayfield is just a goon.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, really, you're grasping at straws in that division, but the NFC West could easily have 2 playoff teams, as you know. It happened last year, and it could easily happen. I mean, 3 playoff teams. It happened last year, and it very well could end up happening again.
Well, who do you think's better, the Commanders or the Eagles? It's like, say what you want about Carson Wentz, and we all have a lot to say about Carson Wentz here in Philadelphia. But
yeah, well, that's
he's way better than Heineke.
That's why I'm taking a deep breath here, because if they get they're going to get Chase Young back. So we know that their defense is should be monstrous again with him back there. That's close. That's really close. So they were pretty close with, when Heineke played that second game, they almost the Commanders almost beat him last year. So that's close. I think that has to kind of play itself out, and we'll see what happens there. That's an interesting.
The Commanders just became really interesting because they have the 11th pick in the draft, and they're not going to pick a quarterback.
No, and they've got a real good defense, and their offense is definitely going to be. Excuse me, they're going to be better offensively this year, you would think. So let's see what happens with them. That's an interesting one.
And Don talking about some Lions stuff.
Minnesota still has a lot of talent. We'll see what happens there. I think San Francisco and the Cardinals are still.
I think that new coach is going to do well for them. Kevin O'Connell from the Rams.
Yeah, he probably will.
He's got a lot of toys to work with.
Yeah, look, they're not. Listen, the NFC teams are. Other than the Rams, who are still going to be very good, Tampa Bay, who's going to be very good also, and I think the Packers will find a receiver for Rodgers, and I think they'll be a top-notch team as well. But other than those 3 teams, I think there's a lot of question marks right now in the NFC.
All right,
I think those last 3 playoffs. I think the playoff teams, it's wide open for the wild card. Any team that just gets off to a good start, it has a shot for, to really do some damage.
Blue City Empire. Let's talk about the American League for a second here before we get
Okay.
out of here. About 15 minutes left.
Well,
Blue City Empire.
let's go ahead and do that. I know he wants to talk about the Yankees, and I would like to talk about the Yankees. So why don't we shift gears for a little bit?
Our American League topic is brought to you by BetUSA, leading online sports book. It's been in the market for over 25 years. You can bet anywhere in the USA on anything and everything. 125% sign-up bonus if you tell them A2D sent you. Follow the link on all of our social media page. 125% sign-up bonus. 50 gets you 125. Kind of play around with for the rest of March Madness, baseball, golf, NASCAR, and then you roll that right into football season. So, Brad, Blue City Empire Sports, he's asked a couple of times, kind of got off track, got some other stuff, but, what do you think about the Yankees? Because
I think the Yankees are going to win the division. A lot. I keep hearing
I couldn't disagree with you more.
I hear all these Yankee fans whining and whining and whining. The Yankees are going to be a very good team again. They're going to be frustrating at times because they're going to have times where the whole team is striking out, and that's going to be frustrating. But then they're going to get hot, hit a lot of home runs. I think the Yankees are definitely going to make the playoffs. I think they can win the division. I don't really give a crap if the Red Sox sign Trevor Story. I'm not that convinced about him. Colorado player. He did not hit very well last year. He's going to play second base. We'll see about the Red Sox. Their lineup isn't any better. The Yankees lineup is just as good as the Red Sox. So nobody's going to tell me any differently.
Yeah, but you don't think Tampa Bay and Toronto are better than the Yankees?
Who's pitching for Toronto besides Berrios? They just lost their Cy Young Award pitcher.
Well, they signed Gausman.
Yeah. In the American League, he's going to get smoked. He will get absolutely murdered in the American League.
I look at this lineup in Toronto.
Okay.
Right? I have Springer coming back. He's going to have a bounce back year. Bo Bichette, Vlad, Teoscar Hernandez, Lourdes Gurriel, Matt Chapman, who doesn't hit for a very good average, but he's got some pop, and he's going to be a Gold Glove third baseman. That was excellent.
Matt Chapman is. If you think Matt Chapman is going to be the difference for them winning a championship, if he has to be the difference, Toronto's not going to go anywhere. Matt Chapman cannot hit to save his life. Okay, he hit 210 last year. 210.
He's a Gold Glove. He hit 30 bombs. And it's a platinum. He's not even a Gold Glove. He's a platinum glove.
Yeah, but he hit 210, and he doesn't walk.
Okay, but he's hitting 7th, Brad.
Okay, but you're trying to make like Matt Chapman's the difference. I can tell you the Yankees have a guy that's the same.
He makes you a better team because he's not.
Is he not Joey Gallo? Is he not Joey Gallo? Except Joey Gallo is a little bit better of a player. That sounds like Joey Gallo.
Matt Chapman is a better player than Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo, no.
How is Joey Gallo? How is he not?
Joey Gallo is not a Gold Glover. Are you out of your mind?
He won a Gold Glove last year. What are you talking about?
Joey Gallo won a Gold Glove last year.
Joey Gallo won a Gold Glove last year. Look it up.
Okay, I'm not going to look it up. I'll take your word for it.
Take my word for it. I wouldn't.
So their rotation.
I was mad as hell that he got a Gold Glove over Aaron Judge. I thought Aaron Judge should have had it. But
so you got Berrios, Gausman, Hung Jin Ryu, Alex Mona, who I like a lot, fantasy sleeper right there, Alex Mona, and that Japanese guy from Seattle is their 5th starter.
Who Higuchi? No, what was his game?
UC
Hibachi or whatever. But I can't remember his name. UC.
He played on Seattle last year. I'm pretty sure.
I think it's Kikuchi, wasn't it? Wasn't that UC?
And then you have Romano.
That's not a good pitching staff.
No, it's not good. But I don't know. We just talked at the whole top of the show about how only a handful of teams have good pitching staff. Do the Yankees have a good pitching staff? I would say no.
I think their starting pitching is just as good as Toronto. I think they're starting.
I would maybe a slight edge because they have Garrett Cole.
Right, but they also have. Well, we'll see about Luis Severino if he can come back. Listen, would I like the Yankees to get Frankie Montas? Sure, or Sean Manaea. You know, I love those two guys. I hope every day that Cashman goes out and brings one of them in.
And in
Okay,
Tampa,
but I'm looking at
Brad, it doesn't
right
matter.
now. I'm looking at it right now, and I would rather have Luis Severino, and I would rather have Tyon, Montgomery, and Nasty Nestor over there four. And I think Berrios is not as good as Garrett Cole. So, and the Yankees can hit. Anybody who thinks the Yankees aren't going to hit is crazy. And if you think that Gio Urshela is a better hitter than Josh Donaldson, you're crazy. Josh Donaldson hit 28 home runs last year, and I believe he hit like 245, and he's also a very good third baseman. I mean, I like Gio. Don't get me wrong. I like Gio, but come on. He's not.
Well, I mean, so I guess is Yankees Nation just sold that Gleyber Torres is going to bounce back now? He's at second.
We don't
base
even
now?
know if Gleyber. We don't know if Gleyber Torres is going to be the everyday second baseman right now. Because right now we have Kiner Falefa at short, which defensively is a major upgrade.
Right, I agree with that.
He hit 270 last year, stole 20 bases. I mean, he's a perfect leadoff guy. If they want to bat him leadoff. Then you have Judge, Stanton, Donaldson.
I think that your Yankees and my Phillies are mirror images of each other.
Except
they're
the Yankees
mirror
bullpen,
images of each other.
Except the Yankees bullpen is a lot better than the Phillies bullpen.
Fair.
I mean, Loizaga, Green, and Chapman are significantly better than the guys you have right now. Is our top
agreed.
Three.
But from an everyday Aaron Hicks.
Aaron Hicks has to stay healthy. I mean, I don't like him either, but we're stuck with him right now. So hopefully he stays healthy. Aaron Hicks has had a couple of good years in the past. He did hit 27 home runs one year. Hopefully he gets that. I mean, the problem with Aaron Hicks is staying healthy.
Yeah, I think Boston has the best lineup in the American League East.
Boston 7, 8, 9 stinks.
I think your guys is 7, 8, 9 stinks. I think the Phillies 7, 8, 9 stinks. Let
me think now. Okay, the catching's a problem right now, but the catching was a problem before. The Yankees are going.
Unloading Gary Sanchez was a smart move. That guy stinks.
I agree, and that's part of it. Now they got a guy, of course, who's hurt already, but to catch. Right now the catcher is going to be Higashioka, and I'm not really too crazy about him, but he is a good defensive catcher for sure. He's not gonna hit home runs about like Sanchez, but he'll probably have close to the same average as Sanchez. He's not a big time offensive player. We know that, but
I mean,
you look at
Boston's lineup is silly. Boston lineup is really good. It's so deep.
1 to 6. That's about it.
I mean, Dalbec is a guy that I really like.
Dalbec isn't that good. What did he do last year?
I mean, he's a young guy. I'm projecting a little bit on him, but I think he's going to play a good first base and be a stick.
You think he's better than Rizzo?
Christian Vasquez is an excellent catcher, and Jackie Bradley they bring back, and he's a Gold Glove. He's a Gold Glove center fielder.
190 hitter, and he doesn't have any power.
You don't need him when you have Kike Hernandez, Devers, Bogarts.
You think Kike Hernandez is going to have a year like he did last year? Come on, his whole career. He was one of these guys who's a utility player, and then last year he hits 300. I don't see that happening again.
And then I'll go back to the Rays. The Rays win this division every year with nobody.
Well, let's see about the Rays. Okay,
we always say that about the Rays at this time of year, and then every year they mash the ball around, and they play these stupid games with their bullpen and openers and starters, and I don't even know what they do down there, but they always win. And
they go nowhere, and they went nowhere in the playoffs last year with all those guys. So I don't know.
No, if you want to talk about October baseball and who's going to come out of the American League, I am very confident that the Chicago White Sox are going to win the American League. Very confident. I don't know who I'm going to have come out of the East. I'm not going to pick my wild cards. I'm also going to pick the Seattle Mariners to win the American League.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
I don't know, Brad. I'm looking at this lineup right here. I mean, remember they got Adam Frazier.
Okay.
He was on the Pirates, then he was on San Diego, and now he's on.
Now
Now he's at.
Isn't he the one that was on the Pirates that had a lot of hits?
Yeah, he's going to hit leadoff for him. They trade for Jesse Winker from the Reds, who I love.
But now he's going to be playing in a real stadium. So what's going to happen to his home runs?
He's a pure hitter, and he gets on base.
Yeah, in Cincinnati, where he's playing on a little league field,
it doesn't matter. On base percentage has no bearing on what stadium you're in.
Well, you're not going to hit a lot of home runs. Those are going to be all flyouts in Seattle. Seattle's one of the toughest places in baseball to hit a home run.
I mean, Tyler France is really underrated. J.P. Crawford is awesome.
He's not a great hitter. They still don't.
He's an awesome fielder, though.
They still don't. They don't have enough hitting.
And they have Mitch Haniger.
The best two teams right now in that division are the Angels and the Astros. And if you want to tell me one of them, okay, I could probably not disagree with either one of them as that. But as far as the White Sox still have a lot. The White Sox also lost Rodon, which I think is going to cost them.
Yeah, but they have.
They'll win the division because the division has. Well, no, maybe not, because you know what, the Twins went and made a couple of nice moves. I mean, you can't argue about Correa, that's for sure. He's a solid player.
Yeah, but where's the White Sox here? Here's the White Sox. Okay, let's talk about their lineup in a second, which is.
We know the White Sox. Well, we know the White Sox are good. We're not gonna.
You lose Rodon. I'll give you that. It's a great signing by the San Francisco Giants, by the way. They got him and Logan Webb at the top of that rotation. That's really good.
I mean, Rodon is 100 times better than Gausman. Gausman got beat up in the American League.
What do you mean? Gausman's on Toronto.
Gausman? Yeah, I know. No, I'm just saying as far as San Francisco is concerned, Rodon is a way better pitcher than Gausman.
I agree, but they still have Lance Lynn, Giolito, Dylan Cease, who was tremendous last year, Dallas Keuchel, who's your lefty. We'll see what he has left, and Michael Kopech, who has been a top prospect for years.
Yes, he has. Yes,
so
he has.
Look,
and then they've got some young players, Rob. But you know what, they'll win the division. As I said, they'll win the division because there's really nobody to compete with them right now. The Twins have improved, but they don't have enough pitching. The Tigers have improved, but I don't think they're quite there yet either.
And you have Joe Kelly. You have Joe Kelly, Aaron Bummer, Craig Kimbrell, and Liam Hendricks closing the door in the ninth. So rock solid in the bullpen. Then you get to their lineup, and they just absolutely mash. Tim Anderson's terrific. Luis Roberts terrific. Eloy Jimenez is terrific. They're going to score a lot of runs. I just don't. This is the least flawed team, I think, in the American League. Just my opinion.
Houston's still pretty good too, unfortunately. So I
don't know. Houston. I think Houston's going to have. They're
going to get Verlander back. Don't forget that's going to help them. Unfortunately,
their lineup, they're pretty deep.
They're pretty good.
They're the same. They're like the same team. Like they're 1 through 6. They're great, and then 7, 8, 9. I have no idea.
They're like everybody else in the American League. They got a couple of good young pitchers, and Verlander might be able to put them over the top in that division. I mean, I'm not buying Seattle at all. Not yet, anyway. They got something to prove to me.
What'd you say? The Angels? Well, the Angels, they have Trout back. They have Rendon back. They only have 4 guys. I mean, 5 through 9 for the Angels. I don't know at all. They did get Syndergaard.
They've got pitching now. That's
which I think he's a candidate for. I don't know if MLB does a comeback player of the year award or not, but Noah Syndergaard would be right at the top of that list for me. But I mean,
they went out and got some pitching in the offseason finally.
Seattle's better than the Angels.
I think the Angels are going to be very.
The Angels are top heavy, like they always are. They don't have a team. They have a couple of good guys. Now, are they going to put some stretches together? And everyone's going to be right there. because of the extra wild card team. That's what they want. They want the wild card races and division races to come down to the final few games, which that's gonna work. That's gonna happen. It worked in the NFL. There's no reason why it's not gonna work in the MLB. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure we'll be doing a prediction show in the very near future because April 7th and April.
I like the roster, Rob. I mean, you can't. There's no denying this. Their top two pitchers are going to be dynamite. When you got Syndergaard and of course Ohtani at the top. I mean, that's a pretty good staff. And Trout and Rendon will be healthy. A lot is expected out of Brandon Marsh. They still have a guy like Upton. Jared Walsh proved that he was a real good first baseman last year. They're going to be tough. There's no question. They have Iglesias now as their closer in the bullpen, which they haven't had a closer in a long time. I would watch out for that team. They got some big time players on their team. I know they're a little top heavy, but I'm looking at the roster and they've got some players.
All right, we got to get out of here. Flight Zone's coming up next. Jimmy and Evan, I'm sure they'll be talking Sixers. Sure they'll be talking Eagles free agency. Sixers down 1, 5 minutes to go in the game. So Jimmy and Evan on Flight Zone will take you home. Thank you to Frank for producing the show. Thank you for our great sponsors for allowing us to do this. And obviously we are for the fan, by the fan here at A2D Radio. So thank you for listening. Thank you for liking, comment, subscribing, and turning those notifications on. Until next Monday, he's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Peace out, everybody.